The Walking Dead Season 11 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important. If you aren't caught up to the point where I am, you're rewatching or watching The Walking Dead, which is every single episode that's aired of The Walking Dead, or you're just not entirely sure, then I highly suggest that you take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description for you. If that happens to be the case and you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. Smash that like button, share this video, leave lots of comments, and of course subscribe to the channel. And come back to the channel for more Walking Dead content, as I'll do all my ranking videos. I will be covering the Negan and Maggie Dead City show, I'll be covering the Daryl Dixon spinoff show, and of course I'll be covering the Rick Grimes Michonne show. This will be The Walking Dead Season 11 Episode 24, the series finale of The Walking Dead. The title of this episode is called Rest in Peace. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. We have Daryl bringing Judith into the hospital, saying, "Help me." Judith's kind of half in and half out of it. She's seeing Commonwealth troopers walk by. Daryl goes down, and Judith gets up to try to close the entrance. She actually has enough strength to push a desk in front of the door, and then eventually Judith falls over and passes out next to Daryl, and that's where we get that shot that was in the trailer for the finale. Then we have the intro. Jules really quickly gets bit. Luke gets bit. Jules is definitely going to die. She's been in many different places. Luke, if they can cut his leg off, will survive. Daryl wakes up next to Carol. Luke has had his leg amputated. Judith is sleeping. Daryl wants to go after Pamela, and Carol says there's just too many troopers. Then Luke unfortunately dies. He must not have gotten, or they must not have gotten to him quickly enough, and Magna has to put him down for sure. So Luke is definitely dead. Jules didn't even have a chance. We have a Merle reference by Daryl as he's going to give Judith her blood, even though he doesn't have the same blood type. Mercer is in his cell, and all of a sudden Princess and Max help Mercer get out. Princess and Mercer make out. Aaron and Lydia meet up with the other members of the group with, Ezekiel, Negan, Daryl, Carol, Maggie, and company. Rosita, Gabriel, and Eugene are, of course, searching for Coco. We knew that was going to happen. Rosita kicks some major ass and does find Coco unharmed but crying. Judith wakes up next to Daryl with him still giving her blood, and Daryl tells Judith she isn't going to die. And then Judith mentions something about me, Mom, and Dad are all going to be together, and then she passes out again. And then there's a very similar moment with Daryl pushing a hospital bed in front of Judith's door because their walkers are trying to get in this hospital, like Shane did for Rick in the first season of The Walking Dead. And walkers do end up getting through the hospital doors. Daryl goes to grab Judith because he doesn't trust that bed in the way, and brings her bed and her with. Gabriel, Eugene, and Rosita are in a close, intense battle with walkers, and then they end up climbing a building by the pipes. Now, unfortunately, Rosita falls into the horde of walkers. Miraculously, though, she gets up and fights off like a bunch of walkers and gets on a vehicle, and then jumps back to the pipe and climbs up the building to Gabriel and Eugene. She's got to be bitten, though, with that, right? Maybe not, but she fell flat on her back into that horde of walkers, and Gabriel and Eugene were like, no! Well, their look was more sad than that. And then the larger group, led by Daryl, Carol, and company, bring Judith to Tommy, and Lydia's had her arm wrapped up. So Lydia, she's going to be okay, other than missing her forearm. And then she talks to Aaron about being upset about Luke and Jules. Negan is trying to take a rifle to go after Pamela Milton, and Maggie doesn't want him to take the rifle. He says he's doing it for her. She won't come back if she does it. Like, she's going to get in a lot of trouble, possibly killed. So Negan says she has to come back, and that's why he's going to take care of it. And then Negan talks about being on his knees like he was a few episodes ago, and he's so sorry for what he took from Maggie and her son. And this was a very emotional moment for me because I really like the stuff that's happened. Well, it sucked, but it was such compelling television. But he's sorry for what happened to Maggie and, for her son. He's sorry what he did to Glenn. And Maggie takes the rifle and asks if he's coming. Like, she doesn't really acknowledge it, and she's like, "You coming?" Eugene wants to take Coco off of Rosita's hands since it's been a long and taxing day. And Eugene tells Rosita he can't wait for summer. And then we find out that indeed Rosita has been bitten. I mean, it was pretty obvious. The spoilers that I heard about unfortunately became true. Didn't take anything away from the episode, but I kind of wanted to be some surprise. But her bite is close to the left shoulder up here. She says she's going to be fine, though. Max asks Eugene if he's all right, and he says he's completely fine, but he's an emotional wreck right now. Judith wakes up again. Carol and Daryl are there, and Daryl says, "Hey, little ass kicker." Call back to season 3 of The Walking Dead. And then Judith tells Daryl about why Michonne never came back. She didn't go into specific details, but I believe Daryl and Carol understood what she said. She said something about, "My mom never came back, Dad," something like that. And they know. I don't know why she waited this long, but they know now. Mercer wants the group to go as it's not their fight, but Ezekiel says no, and then everybody is with him. Mercer's a part of the group now. They want to take care of the events at the Commonwealth. And then Mercer, with Commonwealth troopers and members of the big group, tell Pamela and company to lower their weapons. Pamela, some other Commonwealth troopers, Vickers, and people aren't being let in as the gates are closed and a big horde of walkers is approaching. And Gabriel, Father fucking Gabriel, says he walks towards them with fucking badass mode, said he's letting people in, and if anybody tries to stop him, he's going to be shooting them. And eventually Vickers decides, you know what, Pamela, she's wrong. She tells all the other Commonwealth troops or soldiers to, no. So now Mercer is back in charge, and then Mercer tells Pamela that she's under arrest as, Vickers just decided that Pamela's direction wasn't the right one. The people are let in. The gates are closed. Elijah comes in. He's still alive. Jerry comes in. He's still alive. He asks about Nabila, and Ezekiel says she's okay. She's at Alexandria, and that obviously makes Jerry really happy. And then Pamela was just going to let a walker bite her. I don't know if it was a variant walker or not. And we hear Judith in the background saying there are still people to save. And then Maggie, who was going to shoot Pamela, shoots the walker that was getting close to, getting Pamela Milton. And then Mercer, we get a very quick, plan. We're going to blow up a bunch of walkers. These variant walkers are too dangerous to fuck with. And we have Cult of Personality playing. I was thinking that CM Punk was going to come out in the episode at some point. I didn't expect to hear that song. And we have an explosion, and all these walkers are killed and blown up. And then we have Daryl talking to Pamela in her new home, her jail cell. And Carol says, we've already had to make the unugly decision by keeping her alive. Because she had mentioned something about these are going to be a lot of important decisions that you'll have to make being in charge. And then Negan's kind of admiring his whisper mask, and then he chucks it. Maggie comes to sit by him, and she says she's been thinking about what he said. We have a Glenn mention as Maggie says that Glenn was beautiful. She remembers his smile. All she sees is that bat coming down on his head and the blood flowing. She mentions Negan mocking Glenn while he's dying. That was hard to watch, but unfortunately she can't forgive him. She's so grateful he saved Herschel, and she knows that he's trying. Maggie knows, Negan knows he fucked up. Negan knows he was a very bad person at one point, but he's trying to be a good person. But Maggie says that him and Annie can be at Alexandria. And honestly, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but I don't think we saw Annie in this episode at all. I could be wrong, but maybe that's going to lead to why they went to New York or something like that. But she can't forgive him, And she's so grateful that he saved Herschel, like I said. And all Maggie has now are memories. Some days she's not going to want to talk or see Negan because of those memories. And other days she might be more open to that. And then we have a dinner with a lot of our main core characters. We have a dog sighting, so Dog is in the finale for that scene. A toast to Luke. Himiko and Magna want to talk, and Magna just starts making out with Himiko, so that was really awesome. They get back together. We have Daryl looking out a window and sees Negan. Daryl kind of nods at Negan, and Negan nods back to Daryl. And that's the last that we see of Negan in this episode. Of course, Morgan Negan to come in Dead City. And then Rosita is sitting there just admiring all this. And she tells Gabriel that everything was perfect. She just wants to remember the moment. And then you see her kind of whisper something to Gabriel. And you can see by Gabriel's facial expression and the tears in his eyes that Rosita had told him that she got bit and she's going to die. And then we have Carol and Maggie taking Rosita to Coco. She lays next to her in her bed. And obviously she must be really weak because they had to help her get in this room. And then Gabriel comes in to say his goodbyes to Rosita. And he mentions something about, we'll see you again someday, and the Lord will take care of you. And Gabriel actually takes Rosita, or I should say he takes Coco away from Rosita. And then Eugene comes in to say his goodbyes as well. This is actually kind of touching to read, I must admit. I pretty much figured that Rosita was going to die in this episode, but it still sucks because she's been a character that's been on the show since season 4 of The Walking Dead. So Rosita, or I should say Eugene tells Rosita he wouldn't be the man he is today if he hadn't met her. And then Rosita's eyes close and she dies. We don't see anybody put her down. She just dies. And then they have a time skip to a memorial, like a plaque on the wall of members that have died, like Jules, Luke, Rosita, and then somebody named Marissa, who I'm not remembering who that was. Maybe I should know, but I'm not remembering that. Ezekiel is the governor of the Commonwealth. Nice. And Mercer is the lieutenant governor. Connie gives Daryl a hug. She signs to Daryl that she's keeping the new administration honest. Lydia and Elijah are indeed alive and well. I can't believe it. I thought Elijah was a goner, but hey, predictions, that's all they are. Lydia tells Judith she has a gift for her. And it's a compass that she had given to Negan. That's a touching scene. It got him through some stuff and got him to the right way. Awesome. We have Daryl and Carol at Alexandria. And then Aaron mentions he thought they'd never get back to this. And a lot of people thought that Aaron wouldn't make it out of this season alive. But Aaron is alive and well. Maggie tells Daryl that they need to start seeing other stuff that's out there. Or need to start investigating other stuff. Carol, I might have not noticed this before, but since they did this epilogue, Carol has a haircut again finally. I mean, her real hair is short anyway, but in the show, her hair is short again. And Daryl says that he's proud of her. Daryl is leaving. He's going to go look for the Brave Man and Michonne. I can't remember what Michonne's name was over the walkie, but Rick and Michonne. He says his goodbyes to Judith, Carol, and RJ. He says that he'll find them and bring them both home. And you know damn well that Daryl will indeed do that. He's like, I will. And Judith's like, I know you will. And then he hugs Ezekiel, Governor Ezekiel. I lost my place here. And then Daryl tells Carol that he loves her. And then for a second there, I thought they were going to kiss. But unfortunately, Daryl and Carol never become an actual couple on the show. They're just best friends. And Daryl tells Carol that he loves her too. And then Daryl takes off on his motorcycle. And at this point, we should have gotten end credit or credits. But we didn't get credits. We got a matchlet. We see scenes of Rick and Michonne. Michonne at night. Rick at night. They're trying to get to each other. It's too far for the radio for Michonne to be able to reach Judith anymore. And then we have a montage of all the Walking Dead characters like Lori, Carl, Shane, Dale, T-Dog, Bob, Sasha, Tyree, I guess I can't actually say without equivocation that everybody, but a lot of characters, just a montage of them. And then we have Michonne looking at that phone with the portrait of Judith and herself on there. And then we see Rick running from the CRM or the Civic Republic. I haven't watched World Beyond, so I don't know what the official titles of things are at the moment, but I'm just going to say Civic Republic or CRM. He throws his bag with his boots, that phone with that sketch on there, and other items onto the boat. And that's how Virgil ends up getting his thing. So they tied up a loose end, which I really like. And then a helicopter comes. The person says there's no escape for the living. Rick's standing there with his hands up as the helicopter picks him up. And then we hear like a big montage of "We're the ones who live. We're the ones who live." And then the episode officially ends with Judith and RJ standing at Alexandra. And Judith tells RJ, "We get to start over. We're the ones that live." And that is the end of The Walking Dead. At least the main series. Of course, the show will continue with spin-offs. And I gotta say, I wasn't sure what to make of this finale. I was a little worried that it wasn't gonna deliver. I think this episode really delivered. It's not the best series finale of all time. I still think Breaking Bad, I still think The Shield, and maybe Lost are better than that. Maybe. Some people would strongly disagree with my liking of Lost's finale. But I would say, without thinking a lot about it, that The Walking Dead has the fourth best finale that I've ever watched. I think it's better than the Big Bang Theory 2-part episode. But I was very satisfied. I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10. There were some issues, maybe not necessarily with the episode, but just in the season overall with pacing. Like, there's a lot of parts that they didn't need to do, where they could have focused more on this Commonwealth battle and had more happen. Like, this stuff was all wrapped up within like 20 minutes of the episode. So 10 out of 10 for me. My female character of the episode, because she died, I'm going to give it to Rosita. I'm going to give a special honorary mention to Maggie, and she is going to be, I guess, co-female characters of the episode, because her moments, she didn't have a lot of moments in the episode, but the moments she had were very deep. And then our male characters of the episode, I mean, take your pick. Daryl, Mercer, Ezekiel. I'm going to give co-male characters of the episode to Ezekiel and Daryl. Mercer was close. And then, of course, you got Judith, too. It was tough. Aaron was really good, too, in this episode. Everybody, I think, gave a strong performance. I just realized my monitor is a little crooked. Doesn't really matter. But all in all, I liked the episode. Like I said, I have issues with, like, pacing. There's a lot of background characters that weren't shown that I noticed. Like, Virgil just kind of disappeared. Scott never showed up. Cal never showed up. We haven't seen Cal since The Calm Before in Season 9. Cindy, Rachel, we don't know what happened to them, if we're ever to see members of the Oceanside again, and maybe the spin-offs we get the Oceanside members. So that kind of bugged me, but there's so many characters on The Walking Dead that it's hard to focus on just all those characters. They focus on the main ones. But I did enjoy it, and I have to score the episode a 10 out of 10 and give those characters, honorary mentions. And Rosita dying, that was really sad. I thought they were going to pull a fast one when she fell into that horde of walkers out there. I don't know if it's necessarily a horde, but there was a bunch of walkers out there. And then she popped back up and fought them all off and got on that vehicle and then jumped to that pole that was on the building, or pipe, I should say. But she was bitten, and Rosita is dead. Now, we got a mention early on in the season about her having dreams about Abraham, and I thought for sure we were going to get Abraham in an episode, but it never came to fruition. We didn't see Jadis, which I'm a little shocked about. We didn't see Morgan, which that bothers me. I did want to see Morgan come back to The Walking Dead, but we did get Rick and Michonne in new footage, and I think that was really awesome stuff with Rick and Michonne. So that was awesome. That sets up the Rick and Michonne spinoff show, whatever they decide to call it, but it's supposed to be more of a love story. So that's that. But I'm done rambling. I could ramble a really long time, but you've already heard what I have to say. I'm going to watch the episode again. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead and you like the content that's on JDev TV and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and remember that I'll cover the Walking Dead spinoff shows, Dead City, the Daryl Dixon spinoff show, and the Rick and Michonne show, smash that like button. Share this video with anybody that you know that likes The Walking Dead, or put this video on your preferred social media platform. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are. What would you score the episode? If you have to choose, it was hard to choose a character of the episode, but your male and female characters of the episode. And I understand if you want to give it to a couple of each, because it was a difficult one. And then last but certainly not least, you're watching the video anyway. Don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.